Tristan from Super Mortgages, thanks a lot for coming here and talking about financing and minor dwellings.
Yep.
So you've worked at ANZ for how many years?
It's 3.5 years as
Right.
a senior lender at ANZ.
And you sort of specialised in what areas?
Specialise in residential investment and construction lending, so people looking to buy and build,
Right.
be for investment or their own
Right.
home.
So that whole construction funding sort of thing can be a bit of a nightmare sometimes.
Yeah, it can be.
Yeah.
Can be if you don't get the right person.
Yeah.
But yeah, quite an easy process if it's explained correctly.
Yeah, and if you understand it, and
Yeah.
not all lenders like construction lending, they do.
A lot don't, no, because
Yeah.
it is more work,
Yeah.
and sort of for the same result, I guess, in terms
Yeah.
of the overall lens. So there's a lot
Yeah.
more work that goes into a construction.
And there's whole progress payment things that have to
Yeah.
be managed. I
Yeah.
suppose once you've got a system set up, they're pretty easy to manage.
Yeah, pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Basically, fire an invoice into the bank or the broker, and then they'll make payment on receipt of that invoice. Yeah.
Right.
So.
And so you've been working with FUZO for a while now and working with our clients
Yep.
to get them, one, pre-approved to buy the existing house,
Yes, correct. Yep.
and then also pre-approved to do the minor dwelling.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
So catch up with the client, get them a pre-approval. Once they
Yeah.
find a property, settle that property. A couple of days after settlement, put it in a pre-approval for the building of the minor dwelling.
Right, even before we've got the resource consents or anything like that,
Yeah.
you're just going through
Yep.
and getting pre-approval anyway?
Yeah, they can
Yeah.
get pre-approval basically from a couple of days after settlement, because the bank will just condition for seeing council consents, fixed
Sure.
price contract for the build,
Yeah,
that they've got correct insurance in place for the build,
sure,
and just a quick copy of the floor plans,
sure.
and potentially a valuation depending on the equity in the property. So,
Cool, okay.
yeah.
And from what you've seen, I couldn't know the answer, but it'd be cool to hear it from you.
Yeah, absolutely.
What are you seeing? Is it easy to get funding to build a minor dwelling?
Yes, very easy. The reason being that the banks are so keen on them is when they build that second property, they're
Yeah.
only borrowing sort of a small amount of money
Sure,
compared to buying a whole house and land package. So
sure.
the fact that they're only looking at 150, maybe 200k
Yep.
to build one, I think that's about right.
Yeah,
Yep. The cost of the lending on that is actually less than the rent that comes in.
right.
So if you borrow 150,000 but you obtain a new rent of 400 a week
Yeah,
for that new minor dwelling, that's actually paying for the loan and more.
and paying the loan of the existing.
Yeah,
house.
and paying the other loan. So
yeah,
from the bank side,
yeah,
your uncommitted monthly income that you've got for servicing
yeah,
actually increases by doing
Yeah.
this. So when it goes to the bank, you actually look like you're in a stronger position than when you were first
Yeah.
approved,
yeah.
which is why they're such a great thing
Yeah.
from a lending perspective.
Right, yeah. So,
Yeah.
in your history, would you think that it would be possible not to get funding for a minor?
It'd be very, very rare. I mean,
Yeah.
if you've got approval for that first property,
Yeah,
you've obviously demonstrated that you've got enough income and
Yeah.
equity to do that.
yeah,
When you come to borrow that extra 150 grand or 200 grand, whatever it might be,
yeah,
yes, there is a cost for that, but
Yeah.
the new rent
yeah,
is a higher income
Yeah.
than that cost.
yeah.
So by default, I can't see why it would
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah.
It would be a very odd, weird, bizarre reason if it was
Sure.
declined. I haven't had one declined yet.
Sure. So in investor talk, the yield on the minor dwelling is actually anywhere from 10 to 14%.
Correct.
Because you're only funding the construction of a house.
Yeah.
You already own the land.
You already own the land,
Yeah.
so it's just best utilisation of the land you own.
Yeah.
If you were to say buy one rental property and then say, yeah, I want another one,
Yeah.
you're going to be paying, I don't know, 400,000 odd
Yeah,
for that
exactly.
second property
Yeah.
to get a new rent of
Yeah.
400 per week.
Yeah.
A minor dwelling, you're paying, maybe 180.
Yeah.
But you're getting 400 a week. So
Right.
instead of borrowing another
Yeah.
400k, you've borrowed another 180k, but you've achieved the same
Sure.
return.
Sure.
So it's
Yeah.
from a bank side, it's a win-win.
Yeah, no brainer
Yeah.
for funding.
Um,
And so as a result of seeing the finances yourself and how it all works for yourself, you own some investment properties out
Yeah,
in
yeah,
Auckland.
yeah. Got one in Massey.
Yeah, and a couple of months ago we were discussing
Yeah.
you
Definitely
doing
looking
some
at
minor
putting it on
dwellings on
there.
yourself.
Yeah. So myself and my business partner have a place up there. Putting the one on the back. The site's big enough, just by sheer luck. The place that we
Right.
bought
Yeah.
is big enough.
Yeah, cool.
We're quite keen to double our rental stream.
Yeah.
We're getting 450 for the front house now, probably
Yeah.
get 400 to 450 for the minor dwelling.
Sure.
And that would essentially pay the loan and more
Sure.
on what we're looking to borrow to do it. So
No brainer.
it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
So
And you might look to go and buy other properties to do more minor dwellings.
yeah, I think getting a place that has that option is always an advantage. Even if you never did it, it's an advantage because when you sell it, it's more valuable.
Sure.
Just by having that land size there and the possibility to do it even adds in value.
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
another side to consider is that the bank looks at the end value of adding the dwelling.
Right.
So
Sure.
it's important to know that the bank is considering lending up to 80% of what the end value is.
Sure.
So even though you might be needing to borrow more than what the house is currently worth,
Yeah.
based on the proposed plans, you're
Yeah.
actually building a lot of equity in your property
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah. So we're none of our clients are buying houses, or we're putting them into construction loans where the valuation, the end valuation, which we can get before we start the construction, the building consent and contract is always below that
Right.
valuation
Yep.
price. So,
Yes,
so that,
it's
from a funding point of view, that's
great.
yeah.
Yep. Perfect.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Really appreciate your time, Tristan.
Not a worry. All right.
Okay.
Thanks,
Cheers,
mate.
mate. Cheers.
Cheers.